What's up, Ravens fans? IndyCar Tim here with your post-game Cleveland Browns come from behind field goal winning kick edition. Boys and girls, that one hurts, not going to lie. That was a game that the Ravens had early, that the Ravens had control of early, that should never have gotten away from them. It should have never have been close. At any point through the second half, of course, Ravens jumping out to that 14-0 very, very early lead with the pick six and with the Keaton Mitchell run. And, things just kind of fell apart after halftime. And I haven't had time, of course, to watch the All-22 or anything yet as we're doing this immediate reaction. But, I feel like just from first thoughts about it, the run defense failed you miserably. As Jerome Ford, proved that or showed that, I don't know if he's for real or not. I don't know anything about Jerome Ford, but 17 carries, 107 yards. That's a 6.3 average for him. First of all, that should never happen against the Browns. The next leading rusher was Deshaun Watson with 37 yards. Hunt only had 32. So, other than Jerome Ford, and most of that was all in the second half, you had a pretty decent day, but it was the Browns ground game that got them back into the game, along with a sore subject that I've had to talk about for the entire season, and that is Lamar Jackson's proficiency to turn the ball over, or to almost turn the ball over, as is normally the case with his fumbles. But Jackson had 2 interceptions, including a pick six late in the game that literally let the Browns back into it. It was a terrible throw. Should have never been thrown. He made some terrible reads today. I don't know what he's looking at half the time. He was also sacked 3 times for 23 yards. That didn't help. But 13 of 23 for 223 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. That is not going to cut it in an AFC North game. I don't care who you're playing. In a very, very tight AFC North right now, where every team literally is in the playoffs in the AFC going into the week. The Bengals lost to the Texans in the early window, and Pittsburgh wins. So you're trying to keep pace with Pittsburgh now, but just a game that didn't look very good, that started out so promising, and it's just at 7-3, of course, you still look okay, but I hate seeing games like this when you're on such a streak, such a roll. You'd won 4 in a row. You've got Cleveland coming to your building after you completely dismantled them in week 4, 28-3. I get it. Watson wasn't on the field in that first game. Watson was barely on the field in this game, all right? Let's talk some Deshaun Watson. He did not look great either. 20 of 34 for 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And, dude, he got his butt beat all over the field. Getting it up slowly several times. He got hurt his ankle on a run out of bounds. And the Browns had to take a timeout to avoid from him having to miss a play due to injury. So, yeah, he wasn't great either. So I'm not saying Deshaun Watson won this. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson lost this. Obviously, the dude balls. And just, I feel like you allowed 33 points to the Browns. You scored 31 against the league's number 1 defense in the Browns overall, but you allowed 33, and you registered 4 sacks on the day on Watson. You'll increase your league lead in the sacks category. That's great. But man, you cannot allow 33 points to the Browns. This is not a great offense. This is not even a good offense. As they are now 6-3, somehow they are 6-3. Don't know how they got here, but here we are. So anyway, a loss, yes, but you know what? Get over it. You got Cincinnati on Thursday night. It's a short week. You need to put all of this behind you. Cincinnati is a far better team than the Browns are. Yes, they just lost to the Texans, but man, watch out for those Texans. Kind of glad the Ravens don't match up with the Texans this week, because that C.J. Stroud's kind of showing he's got a little something down in that AFC South. So anyway, moving on. I think you've got something in Keaton Mitchell, obviously. Gus Edwards did not have the greatest game either, of course. 11 carries, 24 yards, a touchdown. Mitchell had 3 carries, 34 yards, a touchdown, but he had that long 39-yard run. And I don't know what Todd Monken's offense is supposed to be yet. We've seen several different versions of it in 10 weeks. I still don't know what his goal is. I know they wanted to run the ball more. They wanted to get some receivers for Jackson. I get it. Zay Flowers, 5 catches, 73 yards. Andrews, 2 catches, 44 yards. Beckham had 1 catch on 2 targets. And yes, one of them was, the one catch was the 40-yard touchdown. Why is Beckham only getting 2 targets? Why is Andrews only getting 4 targets? 23 passes. I mean, I get it, mixing it up. I get it. But, man, it seems like you'd want to mix it up a little more than that, getting your Bateman had a catch early in the game and thought maybe he'd get going, likely 1 catch. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what this Todd Monken offense is. If you guys have some insight, you can tell me. Let me know what it's supposed to be because, well, I know what it's supposed to be, but I don't know what it is after watching 10 weeks of Ravens play. And not that that's necessarily a bad thing because you want to keep the offensive coordinators or the defense coordinators guessing too, and that's great. But sometimes you just lay an egg, and this was an egg in the second half by the Ravens. But let's get over it. Let's move on. I'll be over it here after a couple of beers, and I'll be back to talk to you guys a little bit later in the week to preview some Bengals, maybe get some more insight on this loss, and see where the 7-3 Ravens go from here. Go watch some late games. Grab yourself a cold beverage, an adult beverage if you are so inclined. I'm about to have several as we transition over to Cowboys-Giants here at FanStream Sports. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Make sure you subscribe to the audio podcast. Leave us some great reviews. Until next time, boys and girls, we'll see you.